Hello, Hare Krishna. My name is Jvalamukhi Dasi. I'm recording my video blog series on the book that I'm writing, My Hoo-Hoo and the Destiny of the Universe, the Golden Age, the Great Sinister Movement, and the Firewalk of a Hare Krishna Kid. This is video number 42, and in these videos I am recounting my healing of satanic ritual abuse within the organization called ISKCON, or the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The message is pure. The institution was infiltrated just like all the other organized religions and organizations of this world. So we are trying to clear Srila Prabhupada's name from all that went on in his name, and to bring forth the pure message that he gave us and enliven people's hearts in this way. So even though the subject matter is difficult, the purpose is bringing forth the supreme absolute truth, which is supreme love. Demons don't know that, so we are sorting it out here. So the previous entry was of me reliving being RAPED in a pool in the Detroit Temple area after a MURDER, and what was going on there. So this I'm picking back up with is the clearing of the entities that came in at that time. So right now the setting is I'm on the session table and I'm going deep inside and trying to work out all of the layers of conditioning and consciousness so that I can come around right. So here it is. We did some clearing around the implanted messages that I am evil and a murderer. Mahaprabhu is adept at seeing the issue at the root and had me repeat the affirmation. In the past, I have given a lot of power to Black Tantra, and now I give Black Tantra no more power. Whoa, those words were really, really hard to get past my own lips. And when they did come out, holy smokes, clearly she had hit the nail on the head. This entity was powerful. I tried very hard to hold my body still so as to take my power back, but there was no chance at all. I went into a bucking spasms and quite nearly catapulted myself off the table. All the while, Mahaprabhu was saying prayers and affirmations to Lord Nrsimhadev, telling the dark entity that he was going with the celestial beings who had come for him and that it was his time, etc. She must have been convinced because it worked. Wonder of wonders, I was just praying and praying, seeing myself in front of Sri Ugra Nrsimha, utterly helpless in my fallen, dirty condition, begging for mercy. Please release me, please release me. You are my only hope, you are my only shelter. My body finally went slack, and so did my mind. That big black dark entity had left, and we were both just about on the floor. My teacher usually asks the entity to show me how it is hooked into me and when it came in, etc. But this one, she told me that I would get all the information directly from Supersoul and to just leave completely. I also said some affirmation about, in the past, I have given a lot of power to the inner message that I am special. Now I give the message that I am, quote, chosen or special, no more power. This is common in satanic ritual abuse to explain why the perpetrators are doing such things, because you are special. The information came in a picture which we both saw with our inner vision simultaneously. Yeah, so this is important to understand. They're not just, when satanic ritual abuse is multi-generational, and they have to prepare the next generation to be the perpetrators. And they do all of these torture things and murder things and rape things and summoning entities into you so that you become full of it, you become used to it, and they actually, in their super demented way, think that they are doing you a service. They're doing you a power so that you can become powerful. They're taking away all of your weaknesses, like, compassion, mercy, love, empathy, all of the things that make you human, which is less desirable because they're not human. They're dark entities that possess and control human beings, or they're, reptilians or ETs or whatever they are. There are 400,000 different kinds of humans or humanoids, I guess you would call them, that are described in the scriptures. So the human being is certainly not the only intelligent two-legged being in the universe. Humans, of course, are given the capacity for self-realization, which means they have the ability to love, feel compassion, empathy, all of these higher ideas and not ideas, but abilities, whereas other humanoids are, I guess you could say, they're materially more advanced. They have a lot of technology, they have extreme intelligence, but their intelligence is warped by a desire for exploitation, lusty, demonic perceptions. And so they consider that these other qualities in the human being, which are actually meant for the purpose of life, self-realization, and making a permanent solution to the cycle of birth and death, they consider that these qualities have to be wrung out. They have to be, fixed. So that satanic ritual abuses, that's what they're doing to you. So sometimes when you're being tortured so much, the only way that you can deal with it is pride yourself on how much you can take it. I can take it. And you just kind of keep going into some sort of, got to find some sort of shelter for your consciousness while they're doing all these horrible things. So you go to this very, I don't know what to say, limbic place, or like just go somewhere so deep inside yourself. And then that message is, you're special, we're preparing you, you're going to be the next mother of darkness, you're going to be the next, world leader, because maybe not all of them now, because the golden age is coming, but the majority of the so-called big people in the world have been abused from early on. They have programming in them, and so that the beings at the top, I don't even want to call them, I guess they're people, they're not human, but the people at the top, they can control your politicians, your entertainers, your public figures, and anyone who is not controllable is a threat to them, because they may go off script, so they make sure that they breed their next spewers of demonic agenda. So people like Charlie Kirk, who just got assassinated, were off script. They were talking about God and giving people back their power and, logical thinking and, all of those things, which just can't have in Kali Yuga. Anyhow, here we go. Here we are. I was in the basement of the Detroit temple. My naked little girl body was strapped at the wrists and ankles to a round plywood table that was able to rotate completely, like the diorama of the Changing Bodies exhibit close by. In parentheses I wonder if my relative used the same one. Odd, ha ha ha. Dark humor. On the table, quote table, was spray painted in red a pentagram. There were candles and daggers, small knives stuck into the board around me. The adults that stood around me were drinking alcohol, and the mood was one of, whoa, isn't this far out? Really powerful, cool, scary, woo. We are really into something secret and powerful, aren't we? Special and cool. I'm not convinced, being as full of self-doubt as I am, but the name of such and such came up quite a few times, and this is not the first time I have seen him in this session. He came up months ago as well. I had an impression of him, his penis hanging out over me while I was on that round table, the pentagram. He was drunk. I was not able to see the faces of the other adults at this time. The sentence, such and such is a pedophile, repeated over and over in my head. I do not know the source of these words other than their existence. The name of Dinesh Mahadev kept coming up after this. It seems it was a code word and not a real person. I suppose more will be revealed later. The session ended. My body and mind were tired. Mahaprabhu just looked at me and I looked at her. This one took the cake. She said this was the most powerful entity she had ever been asked to exorcise. When she saw it coming out, she just wanted to not have to deal with it, but was forced to because it was coming out full speed. She spoke about its intensity several times. She has done so many of these kinds of clearings for others, and for her to say something like that means a lot. She said it was as if the devil himself were there. He was that powerful. So just a little aside, my mentor had no intention of ever doing any kind of exorcism work or entity clearing work or anything like that. She didn't even want to touch it. But out of necessity, I'll have to ask her the details of it, but she was in prayer around it and said, well, if I have to do this, then you'll have to show me directly. And she was given direct instructions from the Lord in the heart that this is something necessary for your service. And so she took it up. So anyone who desires to get into this kind of work should not get in this kind of work. You don't mess with what you have a fascination with, because they will get you. They will get you bad. I also, as a matter of necessity, have had to do many exorcisms. I've learned how to do self-exorcism. And spirits are as common as parasites. Everybody's got them. So that process of bhakti yoga, of cleansing the heart of all the dirty things in the heart, doesn't give an opportunity for dark, ugly spirits to reside in our consciousness. And therefore we can see things clearly and we're not puppeted by them anymore. So even today I'll be doing my yoga stretches or my clearings or whatever it is to try to come into equilibrium and be empowered with my work. And still there are entities that come out. So everyone, I guess you could call them the personified thought patterns, the energies, but also I had someone early on in my healing process. I had gone to see her not that long ago, and we were doing some healing work together, and she was doing some adjustments on the spine and like that, and she said that she could no longer work on me because the entities were too heavy. And I accept that it's an occupational hazard, but not everybody's cut out for this kind of work. So if you have a desire to do this work, it should only be because you have to, not because you want to. So I'll leave it at that. It was clear that the foolish people, the so-called devotees who arranged for this hellish ritual, of which I was the star victim, had or have no idea of what they are dealing with, what they are calling in. He had not only hooked into me, but clearly into all of them as well. Just see, for some cheap power, adoration, recognition, they are puppets in the hands of the darkest of forces. They are lost to themselves. The information was this: the one true God, the one true religion, i.e. Satan, would prevail, and they would build him a temple. This is the new one being constructed in Mayapur by the same evil puppets. These foolish, fallen people who still have some position and are sleepers, if you will, are unwittingly carrying out the plan of Kali, the personification of quarrel and hypocrisy in this age, through their denial, their pride, their lust, and their own self-hatred and rejection of their best friend in their own hearts, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. It takes courage to heal people. If you run from it, you perpetuate. It's hard to trust after you've been abused. It's hard to trust God. How would he let these things happen? I understand that. And yet, everything happens for a reason. And if we're willing to go deeper and be open to love courageously, we will find those reasons. And it's not what the demons think. They think that God abandoned us, we're being punished. Or maybe they don't even think that far. Maybe it's just a feeling inside, and they're overcome by their hordes of dark entities that live within themselves, and they just must attack attack and devour and eat more and more, this insatiable greed for power and exploitation, and of course lust. And lust degrades. It's not just sexual lust. It's after you can't feel satisfied with the sexual lust, then you have to have bloodlust. And then it's not just bloodlust because they died too easily. Let's tear their faces off. Let's torture them. They just become monsters, and there's no end to it. So these are the people that have infiltrated this organization, not just this organization, all world organizations. And we as human beings have to understand the level of evil so that we can come out of it and not give our power to it or be sentimental or politically correct. We have to be in integrity with ourselves. We don't want to be cheated, then the Lord will arrange for us to not be cheated. But if we want to cheat, we want to keep our eyes shut, we don't want to see, then these are the people that are currently being exposed all over the world, but they've been running this planet for a long time. And it's time to change because the golden age is coming. Or it's here. Let us see how Krishna purifies them all. I am feeling sorry for them. After feeling the power that almost threw us both to the ground, I almost feel like going into spiritual warrior for their sake. So foolish and fallen they are. The real enemy is the lust, the evil, the personification of these qualities, who is always plotting how to fulfill the function of Kali Yuga. It seems to me, from where I stand now, that the devil is quite real, or rather there are many devils, and that he has his servants and his soldiers. As Srila Prabhupada said, we are just not afraid enough of Maya. I can tell you that I am very, very afraid. My body is sore, especially at the neck and shoulders. That entity was tied in there. It was hard driving home from that session. I was almost falling asleep. I came home and took a nap for 4 hours. Exhaustion is a very mild word to explain how I have felt for the past 2 days. By Lord Nrsingadev's mercy, via Mahaprabhu's expertise and love, I officially unplugged from the dark side. Woohoo! I am out! Of course, I look back at this. This was written so many years ago. And how many more sessions have I had like that, where entities of massive proportions have come out, like energetic, ferocious, tapeworm parasite things from my subtle body. They were all shoved in there with, unimaginable torture and hell. And yes, I unplugged from the dark side over and over and over and over again. It's a choice. It's a layering process because of the we're in Kali Yuga. We're in the ocean of birth and death in Kali Yuga, which means there are just almost seemingly endless teeming predators of all varieties, subtle and gross, in this world. And it's a choice every day. Do I want God, or do I want forgetfulness, darkness, hypocrisy, and taking our power back again and again and again from where we have given it by association with the members of this place. And if you don't swim upstream, you float downstream. So that process that Srila Prabhupada gave us of daily chanting the Lord's holy names, remembering him, offering him worship, service, there's 9 processes to devotional service. It's non-sectarian. And that purification of purpose, the dark entities don't have any attachment points. But wherever we give our power away, we become lax. We become, oh, it's fine if I go and eat food cooked by these kind of people. Let me go out to a restaurant. Let me go and listen to some of these wonderful songs that are being produced nowadays. Like we become unafraid of this age of Kali. Then we become, of course, riddled with these energetic parasites, and then they change our perception. And then how sad and tragic it is that within one generation of being with Srila Prabhupada, so many of his professed followers are almost indistinguishable from non-devotees. Maybe they have a cool Sanskrit name, they sometimes wear neck beads, but their understanding of the teachings is I don't even know what to say, inaccurate at best. Because that realization hasn't come from within. Why? Because the practice isn't done from within. It's an external thing. And that was the purpose of the demons, of course, to make Krishna consciousness into another religion. Instead of the science of all religions, the summum bonum of consciousness, it just becomes another my religion, your religion, which is what their purpose was. So here we are. Notably, a friend, two different friends who were staying with me at the time, and my mother all had nightmares that night. I wonder if the devil who disconnected from me was letting us all know that he was still around. I spoke briefly to one of my friends about my session, and interestingly, she told me that she had seen that devil in me. So a lot of devotees have sensitivity to spirits and are able to see things. I scheduled a breathwork session for Monday. I have to do something to relieve this sensation of the gripping grief and the feeling of vomiting through my heart, that pull, just like, and so like all these things want to come out. After spending the evening with Hare Prabhu, I'm going to try singing the Mahamantra as a form of toning in my grief and pain. Japa on my mala does not seem as effective when I feel that sick. So in part of the breath work or release work, you tone, it's called, where you just make a sound and you, or whatever it is, and just let the emotion out through the sound. So there's many modalities one can use to get what's stuck inside out. My dear husband left a dessert bar and a lovely card on the table for me when I came in to the door that evening. They are all asleep up here in their clothes with no blankets. We both forgot that it was our wedding anniversary, which was on March 25th this year. We got married on Sri Ram Navami in 1999, and then again we had a Vedic Yagya on my birthday a year later. So we have 2 wedding anniversaries. I am so very grateful for him. How would I be able to live without such a dear friend? Instead of looking back into the blackness, I have every reason to look forward into the light, largely because of the gift of such a husband. And of course, my beautiful children. Even my mother came by at the tail end of my nap today to check on me. She could tell I was feeling traumatized. She wanted me to talk to her, to open up, and I had to tell her that however much I appreciate all her help and willingness to heal, because of what I experienced as a girl, there are still parts of me that have a hard time trusting. It's natural to feel. But so the inner children are feeling like, where were you? Where were you? Right? But that's such a core part of the satanic model, the ritual abuse. They want to traumatize you so much so that you feel that you have no protection. And then psychologically what happens, it flips over and then you begin to identify with them as your protectors, because it's like the mind has to have some protection. So then instead of looking for an out with God or your mother or father or anyone who's going to come rescue you, it's like you switch your perspective into thinking, this is me. It's a very weird thing that happens. I think it must be tied to different stages of development in early childhood. I think they say F them before they're 8 until it's too late. That mechanism goes on. But working backwards with that and learning to trust again and say, yes, they were brought in on these things purposely. They tried to show you that you have no shelter and that no one can protect you. And of course, your parents, who are multi-generational victims themselves, have also gone through that. So the adult mind can know things, but the child inside is like, ah. So working that out and learning to trust really has to happen with God, and then the other relationships can be worked out. Of course, that is how it goes on in multi-generational abuse families. Children are abused and trained to severely disassociate so that later in life they are perfect stewards of the family traditions. Rakshasa Vaishnava family indeed. I haven't told her about what I saw. I don't think I want her heart to hurt that much. I don't think she could take that anyway. I'm ready to lay it all down and move past this karmic exchange. I am ready to be a pure spirit soul absorbed in Krishna's pastimes. And here I've written another song. I'm not going to try to sing it, but I will read the words. I want to live in your reality, get free from this tragedy. I want to be in your reality, apart from this tragedy. I want to feel your reality, leave this dark comedy. I need to be in your reality, can't take no more of this falsity. I want to live in your reality. I've had enough of this duality. I need to be in your reality, can't take one more tragedy. Come fill up my heart for real. I am very, very scared to feel. What do I do with the pain? It is you that I need to regain. I've got no taste for your holy name, my heart full of lust and shame. Anyway, I belong to you. Please show me how to make it through, 'cause I want to live in your reality, apart from this tragedy. I want to be in your reality. I need to feel your reality. I've got to see your reality. I must hear you in reality. Hare Krishna, thank you so much for listening. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.